rectum, and then finally in the anus. As I said earlier, organs, though perform specific actions in our bodies, they are usually interconnected. So in these abdominal cavities, we have mentioned liver, we have mentioned stomach, we have mentioned intestines. There are other organs that connect to the liver, the stomach, the intestines, as I have said earlier, to allow digestion of food substances. Now watch again. I am tracing from the throat region through the chest. Watch carefully. Just where we located the trachea. Watch below the trachea. There is this cream-colored tube. This cream-colored tube. This is a long tube which connects the mouth to the stomach. This is this cream tube I'm mentioning. It is called esophagus or the gullet. It is through this tube that food is swallowed by peristalsis to enter the stomach. So we can find it in this arrangement that food runs from this tube called esophagus and then gets into the stomach. Stomach continues with the intestines that finally ends in the anus. So quickly I will sketch this set of organs I have just mentioned in the abdomen to describe a particular system called the digestive system. It begins as this long tube called esophagus, bulges to form the stomach. See, then it continues as a network of intestines, As you watch carefully how I draw, very easy, just watch and then you imitate. You see, the intestines begin as small intestines. Earlier, they are small intestines. This is called the esophagus. This becomes the stomach. And then we have this and then that as the small intestine. Specifically, this is called duodenum. And then we have ileum as the second part of the small intestines. What have I called? Sorry. Then we find the remaining as the large intestine, namely the colon. This is the colon. The end of the colon is a temporary storage area for undigested food substances. This is called the rectum. The rectum. And then finally, we have the anus at the end. Students, between the stomach and then the duodenum is another very important organ called the pancreas. The pancreas. Pancreas does a lot of functions. Pancreas secretes the hormone called insulin to regulate excess blood sugar in mammals. Again, in digestion, pancreas is involved in the production of pancreatic juice for breakdown of various food substances. I'm sketching that of the liver, also discharging into the duodenum. So we can find on the board a digestive system that involves all the structures I have just mentioned in the abdomen. Now we are going to the lower abdominal cavity. Lower abdominal cavity, first by removing the digestive system and those structures on the chest. We can now find these are structures which were previously covered, but after removing the digestive system, they can now be seen. First, watch here. We can find two bean-shaped structures. Two bean-shaped structures here. Every mammal has two of this, and these are the kidneys. When we trace from the location of the kidney, which does various functions such as for excretion, such as for pH balance, such as osmoregulation, these two kidneys are connected to our muscular bladder. So after urine has been formed by the kidney, it is transported through a vessel, as I am tracing here, called the ureter. And then the urine finally stored in this muscular bladder. So again, our two kidneys connect to a muscular bladder with a ureter for us to be able to urinate, forming the urinary system. So in the abdominal cavity, we find this arrangement also there. We have two kidneys. Watch this. We have two kidneys, and then we have a muscular bladder which stores our urine. Now, as I am sketching, we're going to put it this way. This is representing a kidney, within which urine is formed. When urine is formed, it is transported through this vessel called ureter, and then be stored in this muscular bladder. So as of now, we all have our urine stored in the muscular bladder. Should this be filled, then we can discharge the urine outside through another organ called urethra. Note the difference between ureter and then urethra. The ureter transports urine from kidney for storage in the bladder. Urethra discharges the urine to the outside. In addition to this urinary system in the lower part of our abdomen, we can find the reproductive systems of both males and then females. Let's look at this first for the females. This is a model. This is a model showing a mammalian female reproductive system. Female reproductive system means that it comprises of various organs, all connecting to perform a particular function. The major organ for reproduction in females are two ovaries. Every female has two ovaries. If you watch carefully from the model in my hand, these are the ovaries. Now from the ovaries, you can trace outside through this vessel. This is called the oviduct or the fallopian tube, and then this large area will represent the uterus. So all female mammals have ovaries for release of egg. Eggs released are transported through the oviduct into the fallopian tube. The exit of the fallopian tube, you can find the cervix, which opens outside through the vaginal wall. So for the female, every female has a structure of this sort. Every female has this representing its reproductive system. This is the ovary. That is the major reproductive organ, which releases eggs to travel through this tube called the oviduct. Should egg be fertilized in the oviduct, they can be attached onto any area within this place called uterus. Uterus, commonly called the womb. That's where embryo develops. For copulation to occur in females, it goes through this manner. So this area, that is the opening of the reproductive system in the female is described as the vagina. So, students, this is a sketch representing the female reproductive system, which is usually located in the lower abdomen. Finally, to the male reproductive system. We also have, I'm saying we also because I'm a man. Every man has 2 testes that produces sperms, and these testes are connected to other organs, all making sure that a man can reproduce by discharge of semen. Sperms are produced in the testes, which are usually housed in the scrotal sac. Sperms produced within the testes are usually stored in the epididymis. This is an organ that is directly attaching onto the testis. The name is epididymis. During copulation, sperms are discharged from the epididymis through the vas deferens, which is commonly called the sperm duct, onto the urethra. Now, sperms reaching the urethra is nourished, is activated, is neutralized by the supply of seminal fluid from 3 major organs, namely the seminal vesicle, the prostate gland, and then the Cowper's gland. So, students, quickly, let's make a sketch to show the male reproductive system of a mammal, which I said involves 2 testes, that produce sperms into the urethra. All right. As we find on the board, it's a sketch showing the major organs in the lower abdomen of mammalian males that enhance reproduction. I mean the reproductive system of a male mammal. I said the major one is the testis here. The testis. The function I mentioned earlier is the production of sperms to be stored in epididymis. Epididymis. This is the vas deferens. The vas deferens, or the sperm duct, through which sperm is transported into the urethra. Students, note carefully that urethra in males is described as a urinogenital organ because it is through the urethra that one urinates. So we discharge urine from the bladder outside via the urethra. During copulation too, sperms in the form of semen also are discharged into the female tract using the same urethra. So urethra is involved in excretion of urine as well as a supply or secretion of semen. Hence the name urinogenital organ. Before sperms are discharged outside, I said earlier, they are nourished, meaning they are fed by a fluid produced by 3 major important structures. The first one is called seminal vesicle. The second is called the prostate gland. and then we have the third one as the cowpes. The three combine to produce a fluid, namely the seminal fluid, which serves as a transport medium for our sperm. I said earlier, apart from serving as a transport medium, it also serves as a form of lubrication and then feeds the sperm, because it's very, very nutritious in proteins and then glucose. So students, the following indicates the major organs that can be seen in a dissected mammal. I said in our case, we are making use of man or humans. So as we find here, in our body, every mammal has two cavities. We have the chest cavity and then the abdominal cavities. Each of the cavities bears a number of organs which are interconnected to perform various functions. So now we have heard about the heart that pumps the blood for circulation. We have heard about the lungs that allows inhalation and then exhalation. We have mentioned the digestive system that is made up of the esophagus, the stomach, the pancreas, the liver, the intestines, making sure that food can be digested. We have also seen those in the lower abdominal part, namely the urinary system that is made up of the two bean-shaped kidneys that discharge urine to be stored in the bladder through the urethra. And then finally, we spoke about the male and then the female reproductive system. When we meet next week, we're going to continue picking each of the systems we have started today and then study in detail in order to relate them to various life processes they perform. Find an assignment. Assignment as regards what we have just discussed. I expect you to complete it. And then I can be linked to through the WhatsApp number through the WhatsApp number 0243 086 056. And the name is Kofi Sakyi. Have a nice day. To meet the next time.